All right, let's crack the code. Today, we're diving into the secret language that builds literally every single website you've ever visited. It's the hidden architecture of the internet, and it all comes down to two things: HTML and CSS.
You know that moment when you accidentally right-click on a website and hit View Page Source, and suddenly you're staring at this overwhelming wall of text in brackets? It looks, kind of complicated, maybe a little intimidating, but that's it. That's the blueprint.
And here's the best part. In just the next few minutes, we are going to completely demystify that wall of text. Seriously, by the time we're done here, you won't just understand what it all means, you'll know how to write it yourself.
But okay, before we can start building, we have to understand the neighborhood our code is going to live in. You can't just write this stuff in a vacuum. It has to be able to talk to the rest of the world.
The easiest way to think about it is like ordering a pizza. Your web browser, that's the client, is you deciding you want pizza and making the call. The URL, that's the address for the pizza place you looked up. And the server, that's the pizza place itself, a big computer that stores the website files, takes your order, and sends them right back to you. That simple conversation is how the entire web works.
All right, time to get our hands dirty. The absolute foundation of any website is HTML. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language, but really, just think of it as the skeleton of a building or the blueprint for a house. Every web page in existence has this skeleton.
And this right here, this is the non-negotiable bare-bones structure. The HTML tag is the main container for everything. Inside, you've got two kids, the head and the body. The head is for all the behind-the-scenes stuff, like the little title you see up in your browser tab. The body? Well, that's where all the good stuff goes. All the text, the images, the links, everything you actually see on the page lives in the body.
So we've got our skeleton. Now it's time to add some meat to those bones. We do that using tags. An H1 tag, that gives you a big, important headline. A P tag is for a plain old paragraph. And simple tags like B for bold or I for italic do exactly what you'd think. Each tag is just a simple instruction for the browser.
Lists are, well, fundamental for organizing pretty much anything. Unordered lists, or UL, give you bullet points. Ordered lists, OL, give you numbers. But here's a cool little trick. You can customize them. By adding what's called a type attribute, you can easily change your bullets from dots to circles or squares, or even switch your numbers to Roman numerals. It's a super simple way to add a bit more style and structure.
Okay, our page has content now, but it's probably just one long scrolling mess. To make it look like a real website, we need to arrange things into sections and columns, just like laying out the rooms in our house.
Now, when you're working with tables, cell padding and cell spacing always trip people up. Here's the easiest way to remember it, I promise. Cell padding is the padding inside the box. It's the space between the content and the walls of its own cell. Cell spacing is the space between the boxes, pushing them away from each other. Inside versus outside. That's it.
Now, back in the day, people used tables for everything. But today, we use something way smarter: semantic HTML. These tags are literally like labeling the rooms of our house. Using a nav tag, for instance, tells search engines, hey, these are the main navigation links. It tells screen readers how to get around the site. It's not just about looks, it's about adding meaning to your content. It's just a much better way to build.
So our house is built, the rooms are labeled, but right now it's all just gray concrete and drywall. It's functional, but it's boring. To bring it to life with paint, furniture, and decorations, we need CSS, Cascading Style Sheets. This is the interior designer for our website.
So there are basically three ways you can apply these styles. You can do it inline for just one little thing, internal for a single page, or, and this is the big one, external in a separate .css file. Honestly, just use an external style sheet. It's the professional standard because it keeps your content, the HTML, totally separate from your design, the CSS. It makes managing your website so much easier in the long run.
So how do we tell our CSS what to style? With selectors. A class is like a reusable template. You could create a class called .buttonStyle and apply that same look to 100 different buttons on your site. An ID, on the other hand, is a one-of-a-kind. It's unique. You can only use it once per page for one very specific thing, like your main logo at the top.
Okay, this right here is probably one of the most important concepts in all of CSS. It's called the box model. Just imagine that every single thing on a web page is inside an invisible box. From the inside out, you've got your content, your text or image. Then you've got padding, which is empty space inside the box. Then comes the border, the line you can actually see. And finally, on the very outside, you have the margin, which is the empty space that pushes other boxes away. If you get this, you can build any layout you want.
All right, you've got the fundamentals down. Now let's go over a couple of pro tips, some really common mistakes that always trip up beginners. Getting these right will make your code way cleaner and just less likely to randomly break.
This one is huge. HTML tags have to be nested correctly. It's a simple rule. Last tag in is the first tag out. Think of it like stacking cups. You can't take the bottom cup off first, right? You have to take the one you just put on top off first. If you close them in the wrong order, like in that first example, things will absolutely break.
And speaking of that, just burn this into your brain. Forgetting to close a big container tag, like for a table or a form, is probably the #1 reason a beginner's page just completely implodes. Always double-check that every opening tag has its matching closing tag. Oh, and here's another classic mistake, using an absolute file path for an image. That path only works on your one specific computer. The moment you upload that to a web server or send it to your teacher, the image is going to be broken. You have to use a relative path, which just tells the browser where the image is in relation to the HTML file itself. That way it'll work anywhere.
And finally, a quick one on forms. You can send data in 2 ways, get or post. Just remember this, get puts the information right up in the URL where everyone can see it. It's fine for something like a search term, but for anything private, passwords, credit cards, personal info, you must use post. It hides the data, keeping it secure. It's that simple.
So there you have it, the secret language of the web. It's not really a secret, is it? It's just a logical system of structure and style. You now have the actual building blocks to create something brand new on the internet. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build first?